Whether or not you think that Kickstarter is a good thing for the industry, there's no doubting that some great games have come off the back of it. Some may have been released to retail anyway, others are Kickstarter exclusive or have so much Kickstarter exclusive content they might as well be. Of course, let us know what your favourite Kickstarter game is, but here's a load of creators to tell you what their favourite is, and we'll start off with the boxed Meeples. And let's be honest, they have two games which I am so jealous of. So let's pass over to them now.
Well, my favourite Kickstarter was actually my first ever Kickstarter for a board game. I'd done some different Kickstarters of various other things, but when it comes to board games, the first one I ever backed was Overboss, and it's still the one I'm most excited by. I loved the game Boss Monster. With its card laying, dungeon building, it reminded me of old 16-bit JRPGs. But as I've got more used to board games, I wanted a bit more texture, a bit more bite, a bit more complexity, and Overboss is delivering that. Set in the same world but very different game. In this game you're tile laying to create an overworld similar to like you'd see in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. You're drafting tiles against your opponent, choosing not just the base tile you want but also the character on top of the tile, and trying to find out which combination of those two is going to net you the most points. As this Kickstarter went on, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think the designers at Otherwise Games said it exploded beyond their expectations. So what we got sent was wonderful, and it was so exciting to get this game delivered, open it up, and see all the goodies that were inside. In fact, this is what really got me excited about Kickstarter, and I since have backed 5 since backing Overboss.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking about which Kickstarter I'm looking forward to most, it's going to have to be Distilled, which is coming at the end of the year with its 700 different cards and tiles and whiskey making extravaganzas.
For me, I mean, my favourite game is Yado, and I kickstarted that, the Deluxe Master Kit. So technically you could say that, but the one that feels sort of Kickstartery, that kind of magic of what's going to arrive, what's it going to be like, how special is it all going to feel? Because with Yado, I already knew the game from the previous version, so it didn't have some of that sort of magic wonder that comes along with the arrival of a new Kickstarter. Whereas Dwellings of Eldervale really did, and it's got fantastic player trays. You've got the monsters that make noises as they move, which is completely unnecessary but also entirely essential to play with. And it just looks and plays beautifully. You are building out the world of Eldervale, and obviously ultimately the aim is to have your dwellings in Eldervale, and I really love how you just put these little hats on the meeples which makes them into buildings. You're doing worker placement, engine building, you're trying to upgrade and gather new meeples that might have wizard or dragon abilities. You can in some cases even take over the monsters and have them help you on your turns. And you're basically racing to be able to do all of these things, move up on the magical tracks, and get your dwellings out in Eldervale before your opponents.
Yeah, Dwellings of Eldervale is a fantastic game, and I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface of it. There's cooperative modes in there, and there's some solo play we haven't even touched it, but we are...
And that's the joy of Kickstarters. There's always so much content that it takes you such a long time to explore it all.
But if you've enjoyed us talking, you can find us on YouTube. We are Box Meeples, a British company who like to talk about board games.
Hi, it's Barb MeeplePhD. And when I was thinking about my favorite Kickstarter, I thought it was going to be a much harder decision than it was. Because I don't know about you, but I have backed 1 or 2 Kickstarters in my day. But when I was thinking about all of the games that I've backed, one just bubbled right to the top, and that's Sleeping Gods. This is a game where the players are taking on the role of sailors who have been plopped in the middle of a strange ocean, and they are traveling around trying to find totems which might wake the sleeping gods in the hopes that those gods will send them back to their home. Now, this is a game by Ryan Lockett. I had previously been totally immersed in the Near and Far game, which is another one of his, where you are doing some worker placement and then going out and adventuring on a map. And for me, I was always looking forward to going out on that map and seeing what stories were there that I could get into. And we had done a couple of map campaigns of this game. We'd done several of the character campaigns, and so we knew a lot of the stories that were there. And when I saw Sleeping Gods come to Kickstarter and I heard that it was all about the story, it was an insta-back for me. Now, this is a game that is almost all about the story. It is an exploration game where you're moving around a map, and as you move around, there are different places where you encounter stories and make decisions about your crew. Are you going to be kind of moral this time? Are you just going to lie to everybody? And each time you do that, even if you visit the same location, you can make a different decision and make the story different the second time around. This became my favorite game of 2021. And it brought so many hours of joy just exploring the map, seeing what different stories we could find, how many different totems could we find, and having those moments of absolute pleasure during a year that I think we can all agree was fairly difficult for the entire world. Just makes this game special to me, and that is why it has to be my #1 Kickstarter. So you can find me elsewhere on the internet as @MeeplePhD on Instagram and Twitter. I have my own YouTube channel where I connect astronomy and games in unique ways. Otherwise, I will see you again.
So I've been thinking about this one, and it's hard because the big CMON Cool Mini or Not style campaigns fill your Kallax with plastic and boxes of additional stuff. And I love playing the likes of Zombicide and Rising Sun and that with those extra bits. It just adds the variety and the extra epicness. But when it comes to just some smaller games on Kickstarter, one that I really have enjoyed over the years is called Click Clack Lumberjack. Now, it's also had a number of different names, but it's one of those games that you can get to the table in pretty much any scenario apart from maybe a heavy Euro-only game night. It's just simple fun, whether it's with family members or other gamers or whatever. Basically, you have a trunk of a tree and then sections of the tree with bits of bark that are just sort of puzzle pieced on the outside. On a turn, you tap a little bit of that tree and hope that you knock some of the bark off by nudging it over the edge so it drops out, but not knocking the actual core of the tree off or making the whole thing collapse. And it's that simple. It's just a dexterity game where you are equipped with a golden axe and you're trying to just gently tap and knock down parts of the tree, getting points for bark, losing points for some of the trunk, and it's that simple. There's even some stickers for bugs for a little like bonus points if you want to throw that in. And yeah, it's been printed with a number of different names now. I think I've even seen it on Kickstarter more than once. It was just a lot of fun, and it's still in my collection, and always have a good time with that. And the more gamery side of me says, I've always enjoyed Terraforming Mars. I always looked at those Etsy sets, those 3D printed tiles with a lot of jealousy, to be honest, and it always kind of felt a little bit out of reach. They were always easily £150 and stuff like that. And then, obviously, they came out with like the official, the big box. Well, I got the small version of the big box, so just those tiles and stuff. And it just makes getting Terraforming Mars to the table just even more of a pleasure. I love the game itself. Now, it's fine to play as it is, but it isn't the best looking game, let's be honest. You add those 3D tiles to the board and it just adds that absolute wow factor to it. So, despite Kickstarter having all of those options, that's what's probably brought me the most joy, at least. And yes, Zombicide, etc., they've always been fun. But Click Clack Lumberjack, just for the family fun, and the Terraforming Mars 3D tiles, just to pimp a game that I already loved. Now, When it comes to Kickstarter, I've not actually backed anything on GameFound, but I think I might be soon with Last Light on there. Soon/now, depending on when you're watching this and when I release this. But anyway, let's pass on to the next creator.
Outside Jeremy here. Why am I outside? Because it is a beautiful day, so why not? I am here to talk to you about the best thing that I've backed on Kickstarter. The one thing with this game is it did not meet its goal, and that is an absolute tragedy. I backed this game, Card Z, because I met the owners back at Kineticon last year, and they were awesome people. They really loved their game. They put a lot of hard work into it, and I wanted to see it pass. It did not pass, but I still backed it, so I'm still counting it. It's a great game. There's already a preview up on the channel. It combines kind of that map exploration and area exploration that you get from something like a Dead of Winter, but it also combines it with that hex combat kind of RPG kind of combat system where you're going in, you're clearing out locations, you're getting loot, and it's just a really cool blend of those different aspects of what you would find in a zombie game. Let's go over some specifics about this game. Well, this game is a mission-based game. You're gonna have a few days to accomplish certain missions. You have to feed all of your survivors. You're gonna get to start off with one of the survivor characters that they have in the game, and they're gonna have their own starting equipment. They're gonna be good at different things. They're gonna be bad at different things. You're gonna get that starting equipment, and you're gonna go through and try and move around the map and loot, clear out zombies. The great thing that I love about this that is not something that you see in other zombie games is when you move around the map, there's a large map. And again, if you want to see a better view of this, you can check out the preview video that I did. But you get to move around the map, and when you go to that specific territory, you're gonna flip over the little play mat that they give you, and it's going to have hex tiles that you can move your little meeple around and clear out zombies. You're going to draw cards from the zombie deck. That's going to spawn them out on the field in specific areas. And once you clear out all of those zombies, you're going to be able to loot it and get some really cool stuff. So why am I bringing up Card Z here? Well, I'm bringing up Card Z here because it's kind of a call to action. I know that this collaboration video is going to reach a lot of people, and when this goes live back on Kickstarter, we don't have a date yet on when the creators are going to make this game live on Kickstarter again, but when it does go live on Kickstarter again, I'm reaching out to all of you and try and make this thing pass, because these guys are passionate. It's a great game, and it really should be out there in the world so people can really experience it and have a lot of fun with it. If they don't have dates yet on when this is going live, how are you going to know? Well, you can keep an eye on my channel, because I'm going to be doing some content related to this game once I hear back from the creators, knowing when they're going to go live on Kickstarter. What is my channel? That is King's Entertainment Reviews. You're going to be able to see some information on the screen now on where you can find me on social media, what the channel is, everything like that. Remember, I'm Jeremy from King's Entertainment Reviews. You're all kings and queens, and I'm just the entertainment.
Hi, I'm Jared from The Broken Seal, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite Kickstarter that I've gotten. When I heard about this prompt, I debated on including games that were on Kickstarter that I didn't back but then got later on. I have a few of those games which I really enjoy, but I figured also I've gotten games from GameFound, wherever else, so I restricted it down to just games that I backed on Kickstarter, got, and then liked. So these are runner-ups. We have Nemesis, we have Here to Slay, we have Sentinels of the Multiverse, and we have Twisted Fables. There are other ones that have come like recently, but I just haven't gotten a chance to play them, or ones that have come that I just haven't had a chance to play either. So I'm not including those on this list because I won't be able to speak to how much I enjoyed them or why I enjoyed them. But for these four, the reason why they're on the list is because not only did I feel like I got my money's worth out of backing it, but I'm genuinely happy that I backed it because I got, special things for them, or I got to play the game. I got to help make a game, as much as my drop in the bucket was, that I enjoyed. So Sentinels of the Multiverse, like I've already discussed, is just a very fun game. I got it because I really enjoyed Marvel Champions. Madi doesn't really like it, and I've had another friend who played it who's kind of like meh on it. So it's really Marvel Champions is a solo experience for me. Versus Sentinels of the Multiverse, I've had both friends try it, both Madi and my other friend try it, and they love it. I also enjoy it. Now, the only critique that I have about Sentinels of the Multiverse, which I've actually seen people discuss for the expansion, is that this is a little too easy. I played through all of the available villains in the Definitive Edition, which I do want to specify, since this is the Definitive Edition, there's already content for this game out. This game's been out for a long time. This just revised the rules and also made some tweaks to the rules to make it more playable. So yeah, they've had a chance to, correct some mistakes over the years, but I feel like with this one, maybe they didn't want to have people lose right out, or they didn't want to have people have a boring time playing it. But regardless, this one's a little too easy for me. After playing through all of the available villains on their hard modes, I never lost any of the fights that I did. They do have another level of complexity that you can add in the events, where it's kind of like not legacy at all, but a adventure, basically, where you go through the available villains, but you play them with an event that's going on that modifies the gameplay somehow. So I haven't done that yet, but regardless, I've played through what they do have. Each villain has an advanced mode. It just wasn't super. I don't know. For me and my experience, it never got me to the point where, wow, I'm really going to lose this game. There were a few times when I thought it, especially fighting the matriarch, but it never got to the point where I didn't think that I could pull it out some which way. Which again is something I do make me feel like I am a part of a superhero team. So anyway, my favorite Kickstarter that I've backed, received, and played is Sentinels of the Multiverse. So thank you all for watching. If you're new to us, we are the Broken Seal. Usually it's Madi and myself. Sometimes we have friends that join in. We play board games. We discuss board games. All of our gameplays have a what we call Finally Thoughts at the end, where we discuss the game and oftentimes give it a review based off of that first impression. We also do unboxings, and we're coming up with some new content that you'll see soon. You can check us out on our YouTube channel, The Broken Seal.
Anyway, that about rounds us up some interesting Kickstarter games that are certainly, most of them are available still via normal purchasing methods. Make sure you go and check out all of the creators involved. The links will be in the description box down below. And we also do a monthly best of the month show. More creators, different creators. Each month it's a bit of a variety, and you just get to hear about lots of fun games, so stick around for that. And until next time, have a great month kickstarting.